All right, let's create a bunch of fictional people and then decide when best to kill them off. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Katelin Urgo and I am a 23-year-old writer who is participating in NaNoWriMo for the 6th time this year. I should preface this by saying that I have never completed the challenge. I have never won NaNoWriMo, but this year is different because I am putting in work ahead of time so that way when November hits, I'm able to hit the ground running and hopefully complete the challenge for the first time ever. Today's episode in my Preptober series is going to be all about character development, which is one of my all-time favorite parts of writing. If you would like to see the first 2 episodes in my Preptober series, they will be linked somewhere up here as well as down below. If you are not already, then go ahead and subscribe to this channel because I have one more video in my Preptober series coming out next week, and then it is officially NaNoWriMo. I am going to be vlogging every day in the month of November, so you are able to follow along on my nano journey as well as track my progress right alongside me, so that should be a whole lot of fun. Alright, let's talk about my favorite thing, which is character development. If you've been following my Preptober series thus far, then you know that I am definitely not an outliner in any way, shape, or form, which is okay. I am not used to outlining. I gave it my best shot, and I'm still working on it every day. But one thing that I know I can do and I love doing, and it's so important that I do ahead of time, is character development and creating believable characters that my readers are going to be super empathetic towards and hopefully love. Sometimes it's the goal to not have a likable main character, but you always want to make sure that even if your reader doesn't love your main character, they at least empathize with them in some way and the reader's able to picture them as a believable person or thing, whatever your main character may be. It is definitely important to get any character development for at least your main characters done before November hits, and there's a few reasons for this. The first of which is that character development definitely takes time. It's something that you want to be able to really put a lot of thought process into to make sure that you're creating a character that your readers are really going to understand. And in order to do that, you gotta put the work in, and it's going to be so much easier to have all of that work done before you start writing so you don't find yourself halfway through having to do a lot of in-depth, personality development for your main character when, hello, you've already written half the book. Along that same line, it's going to be super important to have your character completely fleshed out before you start writing so you're able to make conscious decisions for them, they're able to react to situations in the proper way, and in order to have that consistency, it's best to do the work beforehand. When it comes to creating characters, there are many methods of doing this, just like there are for outlining and all of that. Creating characters is really about what works best for you. If you are a super visual person, then I would recommend maybe creating a collage or a mood board for your person. A great way to do this online would be to use Pinterest and create a board that's dedicated to your character, and you're able to pick out what kind of clothes that they would wear, what their appearance looks like, or maybe the things that they're interested in. It's just creating that kind of aesthetic to where you're able to look at it, get a good idea of who your character is, and then translate that into your writing. If you are more of an auditory person, I highly recommend creating a playlist for your character. Maybe this is songs that remind you of them. Maybe it's songs that your character would physically put into one of their own playlists. And that way when you're writing, you're able to listen to it and it's in the background. If you kind of need to get in the mindset of writing, or especially when nano hits, I've definitely been there where you just don't want to write, but you have to get some words on the page. Putting on a playlist that revolves around your story or a setting or your character is really going to help get you in that zone of getting ready to write. You get excited about writing again and you're able to kind of focus in and get your mindset right. definitely very helpful. I highly, highly, highly recommend making playlists. If you are more of an analytical, logical thinker and you want to get in the head of your character, then this may be weird, but I highly recommend it as well, is getting in the mindset of your character and then taking a Myers-Briggs and kind of seeing what makes your character do the things that they do. And this is going to be a really great reference as you're writing. My good friend Kiara and my executive producer for this lovely channel is super into astrology, and she knows way more than I do, but she has made birth charts for her characters before, which I think is so awesome. And again, it's just another way to kind of look at your character as a real person, and having that background information is going to translate so well when you do your writing because you've got all this information down. And as I've spoken before, a lot of times your reader isn't going to know all of the details of your character's birth chart, but you as the author are going to know, and that's definitely going to help you when you start writing. It's going to make your character feel so real and so relatable, and you're not going to have any kind of weird personality discrepancies because you've done all this work and you know exactly how your character operates. Another really cool thing to note about creating collages or Pinterest boards or even playlists is that all of these translate really well into doing setting development. Between creating collages and Pinterest boards and doing the Enneagram and having playlists, all of that is great, and it's definitely fun, different, creative ways to really develop a character beyond just what do they look like, what do they want, what's their internal conflict, what's their external conflict. All of those questions are really important to answer, but sometimes it takes a little bit more to really spark that creativity and create a character that's going to be super realistic. All of that being said, I think the tried and true method that works for pretty much anyone of getting in the head of your character is filling out worksheets. Definitely not as fun as sitting on your Spotify or Apple Music and creating fun playlists, but they work. Worksheets really, really get the job done when you need to answer vital questions about who your character is, why they are the way they are, how they react, how they behave. All of that can be done by filling out a worksheet. They're not as helpful to reference when you're actually doing the writing, but I do believe that they are especially great when you want to get really deep into who your character is. Because at the end of the day, playlists and Pinterest boards are really great for, you know, the surface level of who your character may be, but when it comes to who they are deep down below the surface, what makes them tick, why do they make the decisions that they do, all of that is really important to answer, and I think worksheets do the best job of getting down to the nitty-gritty. That being said, I am very particular about the kind of questions that are asked in these worksheets. There's tons of worksheets online that you can find. Tons. I've probably answered them all at this point, and they're great. However, you do see a reoccurring theme of asking really simple questions such as, what does your character want most? What's their external conflict? What's their internal conflict? And all of that, which is great. All of that information is super important when you're writing. But I found that if you really want to get deep into your character and find that depth and find that substance within them, then you're going to need questions that kind of make you think a little bit more than that. And I have spent quite some time developing my own character worksheet that I use for every main character that I write, and I will of course be using this worksheet for Nano this year. So I thought it would be fun to answer some of the questions that I have on my worksheet and kind of share a little bit about my character that I'm developing with you guys. So let's do it. The novel that I am writing this November, I announced on my Nano page, is called The Revival, and I am so excited about it. I have not shared very much about the plot or anything like that because I want to be able to really share with you guys once I start doing the writing this November. But I would love to share a little bit about my main character. Her name is Kitty Sloan, but everyone calls her Kit, and she is 25 years old, and she is from a rural town, as everyone in my book is. Ooh, what questions to answer? I think I'll answer 3 questions from my worksheet. The first is, how much money is sitting in your character's bank account, and how does that number affect their behavior? Sitting in Kitty's bank account is almost $1 billion. Almost. Not exactly $1 billion, but almost $1 billion. And she was not born with all of this money. It was later given to her. So she doesn't necessarily have that complex of your standard rich kid that kind of gets to just go around and do whatever they want because they have money and they've never had to think about that before. She definitely has that side of her where, you know, she is conscious and she doesn't make rash decisions or crazy purchases. She is a little bit more thoughtful when it comes to that. However, since getting all of that money, since acquiring all of that money, she definitely is a little bit more carefree. And she is willing to put down as much money as she needs to in order to get what she wants. So she uses money as more of a tool to reach her end goal because she has it. She still has that humbleness to her, but it's definitely disintegrating as the story goes on because money will definitely do that to you. The second question from my worksheet that I will answer is, what did your character want to be when they grew up? What are they now? And are they happy about that outcome? When Kitty was growing up, she wanted to be a doctor of some kind. Both of her parents are doctors. Her brother ended up becoming a doctor and working in the medical field. And so she kind of wanted that from the beginning, but I would say she mostly wanted that because she really didn't know that there was anything out there that would be better for her. Becoming a doctor was kind of just it. Kitty is now working in theater and she definitely is very happy with that outcome, stepping away from the idea that she needed to work in the medical field and could pursue something like the arts was not anything that she thought possible. But since she made that transition, she knows that she made the right choice and she is extremely happy about that outcome. The last question that I will be answering from my worksheet is, does your character drink alcohol and use drugs? If so, how often? And how does this affect your character's relationship with others? Kitty definitely does drink alcohol. She does not use any drugs. That is circumstantial because of the world that I've created in my story, but alcohol is prevalent and she will turn to it when she feels she needs it. The undertaking that she has committed to in the story is not for the faint of heart. It is definitely a grueling task that she has bestowed upon herself, and she feels that sometimes at the end of a very long day, or if she feels that she's been unsuccessful, to kind of ease herself into peace, she will go ahead and enjoy some alcohol. She's not slipping alcohol into her morning coffee or anything like that, but she will enjoy a glass of wine on particularly hard days. Because alcohol use doesn't impact her daily life, it doesn't have a strong impact on her relationship with the other people in her life. In fact, I would say for a few characters in my story, it really brings them all together. Kitty will share a bottle of wine with another character, and that's just a way that they've found they can kind of bond and connect with each other. It's definitely more social drinking and not anything crazy where she's reliant on it to get through each day. Alright, if you would like to answer these questions for your own characters, then my worksheet is available for you to download below in the description. Some of the questions you'll find are just fun questions to answer from your character's point of view. Some of them definitely are a little bit more heavy and get into the why behind your character's decision making or personality. If you have any more questions on any of the methods that I discussed on creating your characters, then feel free to ask away and I will get back to you. I am so excited about NaNoWriMo. If you would like to add me as a writing buddy on the Nano website, then that will be linked down below. and I hope you do, because I'm going to be creating a fun little group where we each get to share our progress and all that good stuff. It'll be fun. So go ahead and add me on there. Next week's video will be the final episode in my Preptober series, and it will be all about last-minute organization for Nano, making sure you've got all your ducks in a row before the writing begins. If you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you aren't already, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel. More exciting and fun things are coming. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Now go write something. Oh.